report card comes home, and it's good, really good. Your kid made it through the entire grocery store without grabbing a single thing off the shelf. They got through a hard moment without falling apart. They listened, they tried, they did the thing you were hoping they would do. And your first instinct, the honest, loving, completely immediate instinct, is just this. Let's get you something. A toy, a treat, a little reward for a little win. It feels loving. It feels like celebration. It feels like exactly what a good parent does. But that moment may be teaching a far bigger lesson than you realize. Because every time achievement ends in stuff, your child is quietly learning that success should lead to spending. That doing well means buying something. That feelings, good ones, hard ones, proud ones, should be answered with a purchase. And that lesson does not stay small. It grows up with them. That is how a child can be disciplined, smart, high-achieving, and still walk into adulthood with weak money habits and a constant need to reward every win by buying something. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how that pattern gets built across two real family moments, why it backfires financially, and what to do instead if you want your child to learn how to build, not just buy. What the toy is actually teaching your kid. Most parents think the toy is about the behavior. Reward the right action, reinforce the pattern, repeat. That logic makes complete sense on the surface. But the child isn't filing this under good behavior gets recognized. They're absorbing a financial formula, and that formula compounds quietly over years without anyone noticing. Good behavior equals stuff, sadness equals stuff. Achievement equals stuff. Hard day equals stuff. Run that equation enough times and it stops being a reward system. It becomes a belief system, a working theory about what money is for and how it moves through a person's life. Here's what that looks like in a real moment. You've got a 4-year-old who holds it together at the grocery store. No grabbing, no whining, no meltdown in the cereal aisle. So on the way out, you grab a small toy from the checkout rack. $2, 30 seconds, and she lights up. So you do it the next trip. And the one after that. By the 4th visit, she's asking for it before you've made it past the produce section. The behavior didn't change. She's still being patient, still doing exactly what she's supposed to do. But the expectation shifted. In her mind, patience isn't just the right thing to do anymore. Patience became a transaction. Effort produces objects. That's the lesson she took home, not the one you intended to teach. Now here's the split that actually matters. Financially strong adults don't move through life thinking, I worked hard, so I should buy something. They think, I worked hard, so I should build something. Those two sentences feel similar when you say them out loud, but they point in completely opposite directions. One turns effort into spending, the other turns effort into ownership. One says the finish line of a win is a purchase. The other says the finish line of a win is a stronger position. That's the difference between a consumption reflex and an ownership reflex. And children don't arrive at either one on their own. They get there through repetition. There's another layer most families miss entirely. When you reward with a toy, the whole moment is visible. The bag gets opened, the excitement fills the room, the experience is real and immediate. But when does saving get a moment like that? When does a deposit into a savings account get a ceremony? When does the decision to wait get celebrated? It doesn't. In most homes, spending is loud and saving is invisible. When the only emotionally charged outcome of effort is a physical object, the child builds a mental model where money only ever becomes things. Not security, not options, not freedom, just things. That imbalance starts young, and it gets more dangerous once emotions enter the equation. Do you ever ask yourself when rewards train emotional spending for your kid? Emotional spending doesn't start at 28. It doesn't begin with a maxed out credit card or a rough week at work or a late night scroll through Amazon. It starts the first time a purchase makes a feeling go away. And for a lot of kids, that happens before they lose their first tooth. Think about what gets quietly built through years of toy rewards. Upset gets a toy. Bored gets a toy. Disappointed gets a toy. Accomplished gets a toy. Every situation feels different on the surface, but the child is pulling the same conclusion from all of them. When something big happens inside me, money should respond. That's not a reward system anymore. That's emotional wiring, and emotional wiring is hard to undo. Here's the concrete version. Your 7-year-old brings home a math test. Strong grade, real effort, the kind of work that deserves a real response. So you take her to Target and tell her to pick something out. It's a small thing, it feels like celebration. Then it happens after the soccer tournament. Then after a hard week at school. Then after a rough Tuesday where nothing went right and she just needed something to go her way. By the time she's 9, she's the one suggesting the shopping trip. Not because she's greedy, not because she doesn't appreciate what she has. Because she learned the script. Something big happened, so we go get something. Good or bad, it didn't matter. The purchase became the punctuation mark at the end of every emotional sentence. And that's where the adult version comes from. I had a brutal week, so I deserve this. I'm stressed, so I'm ordering something. I hit a goal, so I should upgrade something. That's not a character flaw. That's a trained reflex running on autopilot. The same one that got set in motion every time success or struggle ended at a checkout counter. The behavior looks irresponsible from the outside, but from the inside it feels completely logical, because it always has been. Now add the world your child is already living in. Ads built specifically for kids, influencers unboxing the newest thing before school is even out, holiday pileups, one-click shipping, friends walking in on Monday with whatever just dropped. The American consumer environment does not take a day off, and it starts working on children early and hard. Every single message points the same direction. Want more? Get more. Feel better by buying more. If home adds one more voice saying the same thing, that rewards also come wrapped in packaging, the child isn't getting a counterweight. They're getting confirmation. The outside world won't teach restraint. It has no reason to. So if that lesson doesn't come from inside your house, it usually doesn't come at all. Picture that same 7-year-old at 27, pulling in a real income. Every raise gets absorbed. Every win triggers a lifestyle upgrade. Savings never quite build the way they should, even though the money is there. That's lifestyle inflation, and it didn't start with a bad financial decision in adulthood. It started with a shopping trip after a math test. So what do you actually do instead? Not in theory, in the real moment, when your 4-year-old just held it together in that checkout line and is looking up at you waiting, or when your 7-year-old walks through the door waving a graded paper and expecting something to happen. The goal isn't to make those moments smaller. It's to stop letting a purchase be the only way you know how to fill them. Start with recognition. What the toddler at the checkout actually wanted wasn't the $2 toy from the rack. She wanted you to see her. She wanted to know the effort registered. So give her that directly. Get down to her level and say, I noticed how patient you were in that line. That was really hard, and you did it. Not, you were so good. That teaches her nothing about herself. I saw how you waited even when it was hard, builds an identity. She starts to understand that patience is something she is, not just something she performs to earn a prize. With the 7-year-old, try experiences before you reach for merchandise. She brought home a strong math grade, and that deserves a real response, just not a shopping trip. Let her pick Friday night's movie. Let her choose what's for dinner. Let her stay up an extra hour doing something she loves. The win gets marked, the celebration is real, and success doesn't get attached to a purchase. You're building the same positive feeling, but pointing it somewhere that doesn't cost her anything long-term. When you do bring money into the reward, make it constructive. Instead of a toy, say, you earned $5 toward your goal, and put it in the savings jar together. Match what she saves. Let her watch the number grow. The reward isn't disappearing into a toy bin 2 weeks later. It's building towards something she chose. That's a completely different emotional experience of money. Effort produces growth, not just objects. Take it one step further with ownership. a contribution to a savings account, a savings challenge chart on the wall with her name on it, a tracked goal she can actually see. These make saving visible the same way a toy makes spending visible. The ceremony is there. The excitement can be there. It just points somewhere else. Instead of, "Good job, here's more stuff," the message becomes, "Good job, now let's strengthen your future." Read that again because those two sentences are not close to each other. For kids in the older elementary range, connect rewards to value creation, and the most direct way to do that is to employ them in something you're already building. If you run a side hustle, bring your child into it. Let them do something real. Pack orders, prep client materials, sort inventory, help with a deliverable. Pay them what the work is actually worth, not a participation rate. When a child earns money by contributing real output to something you built, two things happen at once. They learn that money follows value, not just behavior, and they see up close what it looks like to build something rather than consume something. That lesson, delivered through experience rather than explanation, is one most adults never fully got. You're giving it to them early. The 7-year-old who learns to celebrate with experiences and save toward goals doesn't stop enjoying life. She just stops needing a purchase to mark every win. She reaches adulthood knowing that consuming and building are two different directions and that she gets to choose which one gets her money. In brief, the toy disappears. That's just what toys do. But the money script underneath it keeps running long after the plastic ends up in a donation box. This week, when the next win happens, the good grade, the calm moment, the hard thing handled well, pause before the default response. Ask yourself what you actually want that moment to teach. Every reward is a lesson. The question is whether it's teaching your child to consume, or to build, to spend, or to own, to feel something right now, or to become something over time. Make rewards less about getting and more about becoming, less about the toy and more about the mindset. Subscribe to Raise Them Rich for more on raising kids who understand money before the world teaches them the wrong version of it. And before you close this out, ask yourself one question. What is my child actually learning every time I say yes?